Do what you got to do. It's real life. Got to blow your nose on camera. Handle that.
If that's what gotta happen.
Don't mute though. Don't mute. All right. Don't mute.
Hey, I can mute on my side. Y'all can't mute. Anyway,
Oh man.
how y'all doing this morning?
I'm good, man. I'm
Doing good.
Good. I'm very good.
How are you?
I'm good, man. I went and I rode the bike this morning. Come to find out that 12 miles that I thought I was doing, I was only actually doing 6 miles or whatever.
What do you mean? How did it get cut in half?
Well, I mean, because I don't know. I just had somebody told me, and I listened to somebody else or whatever tell me that that my trail was a specific amount of miles, but it wasn't. I had downloaded this app on the phone, and that's granted if the app is accurate as well or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but I mean, it's still. I actually did the 12. My God, like according to the app anyway, and yeah, it's pretty intense. But one of my boys told me he be riding like 30 miles and stuff like that, and I was like, let me see what 30 miles look like. I'm not ready for 30
Don't
miles.
do it to
right
yourself, bro. You gonna be calling Sean to come pick you up in the car.
Straight up. I saw a water moccasin today though. That was
Hey,
pretty-
see, I can't.
Where were you
Can't
riding?
mix.
Where was your ride?
I be riding I be riding through the neighborhood, and then we got like a bunch of lakes and stuff like that or whatever. So I ride. There's a trail around the lake. I mean, it's all cemented and stuff like that. It's not like, well, a snake could be on the cement, but most of the time they be like in the water or something like that or whatever.
Okay.
You know, terrapin turtles, all cranes, all kind of stuff or whatever. It's pretty
Okay.
cool.
I told you I saw a copperhead when I was running at the park. I mean, it's
Where were you at? Were you at because there'd be a lot of them out there at Memorial Park out here.
Meyer Park off of Cypress Wood or Spring Cypress, one of those.
Oh,
I used to
okay.
go there.
That's one of my favorite parks, but I was terrified.
I
real?
can't mess with no snakes.
Me either.
When I see them, that's the last time I run in that area.
Yeah,
serious?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get over my fear of snakes, but yeah, that's how I felt. I ran so fast when I saw it, it was ridiculous.
The best way to get over your fear is to just go pick one up,
No, I'm not doing that.
like swing it around your head like a helicopter, like
So, in other news, we're gonna go ahead and go away from that. Nah. Hey man, check this out. This Uber Eats. I know I be talking about Uber Eats a lot. I be having these adventures. I think I may stop for a little bit because last week I had I don't even know what you call it.
a situation.
It was a situation. It was I'm gonna say the name because the name is so common. It's not gonna matter. But this guy named Jose. I delivered to his apartment last week. He gave me specific instructions to put his food on the table. The table, when people normally do that, they leave it outside, and then I put it on the table, and then I leave. His door was open, and the table was inside the house.
And he had a bathrobe on when you like a purple.
Hey,
bathrobe.
bro, wait till I get to. No, listen, for real. So it was like literally just step in and drop it on the table. So I stepped in, and when I turned around, I promise you, I'm not lying. I'm not making this up. His girlfriend was giving him head, butt naked. She was butt naked, ass up, giving him head, and I saw it so quick. And I initially, my first reaction was, did I just see that? And I was about to step in. I was like, no, I don't want to see that if that's what I saw. But that's what I saw. It was so surreal. And I'm like, and I just kept walking. And I'm like, for the next couple of hours, I was like, did I just see that? Is that what just happened? Did they do that on purpose? Like, what was the point in all that? And I forgot about it until, like, right now. Like, it just popped up because I thought it'd be a good story. But, yeah, that was, that was...
Did he see you? Like, what did you? Did he see you? Like, point to the table, like put it right there?
No, so he didn't like point to it. Like he sent the message. So I was moving so quick, because when I'm like, well, you don't know, but when I'm working, I'm like just moving. I'm not paying attention. I saw the table. I noticed that the door was open. I didn't think nothing of it at the time. I just walked in, dropped it, and when I turned like to the right, I thought it was weird that the door was open and that's where the table was. It was an apartment. But when I turned, I saw it. It was like a quick, like real quick. It was one of those things where it happened so fast. I had to question whether it really happened. But that's what really happened.
So then you had to stay there another 15 minutes and investigate on if it was really going on or whatever. You kept like turning away and looking back.
Hey man, you know how somebody like smells something, they like, ugh, that stink, and then they smell it again just to see if it's real. That's what it was like. But I decided not to go and peek in and look to see if it really was happening. I just said, you know what? That's what happened. I know that's what happened. I don't need to go back and see it.
Hey, that's outrageous.
People spicing up. It's during lockdown they gotta figure out something creative.
Yeah,
I mean, but
buddy.
you had plenty of time to do that. You know what I'm saying? He could have said, he could have just said, sit my table. I mean, sit my food by the door or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
That was a setup. It had to be a setup because of the way that it happened. I don't understand the rationale behind it. Maybe that was some freaky stuff for them.
Fetish.
You know, some fetish or whatever. And maybe I messed it up because they didn't I didn't really connect eyes with anybody or nothing like that. I don't know.
How long did it like? Did he text you like 3 hours before or like?
Nah, it just like have it in the message. Like when you do Uber Eats, you can put like a little message to let the driver
I'm saying
know.
how long between the message or like the message and you actually getting there?
Oh, I don't know, man. Once you like pick the food up, the message is already there.
But they know when you're on your way, right? So they can see
they know.
where
They
you
know.
are.
Yeah. They know when I'm on my way. They know how close I am. They know right when I'm about to deliver. So yeah, that was a setup. I know it was a setup. Had to be.
What if they just started? It was like, here he come.
Yeah, probably so.
I mean, the way that it happened, I feel like that's probably exactly what they did.
That's madness. Hey,
That
you
is madness.
got a ceiling fan on or something?
Yeah, you can hear that.
Yeah.
I have mine on as well, but I usually do. Do I need to turn it off?
I got to get up and go turn it off.
Nah, it's probably Cappel.
It is because I'm literally right up under it because I'm hot. I was trying to cool down, but I'm good now. I just didn't know you could hear it.
Yeah, you probably need to cut it off or whatever.
All right, I'm gonna go cut it off. I'll be back in a second.
Go cut it off.
All right, I'm gonna go
Anyway,
in a second.
what y'all been up to, man?
Working like crazy.
For real? Working from home like crazy.
Yeah, it don't stop.
How come like say like, you know, with my wife, I can't give her pointers. Like she complains about her job and stuff like that or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I'm asking this question because I know this is a problem that every man or most of us at least go through. How come we can't give y'all pointers about y'all job and how y'all should be reacting to certain situations and stuff like that or whatever?
I'll take this one if you don't mind.
Go ahead, Gina.
Did she ask for pointers, or is she just telling you or venting so that you can listen?
Is she just trying to vent, or is she asking me, honey, what should I do?
Did she ask,
of
honey,
course,
what should I do?
Of course she's not asking that.
Yeah,
Then why are you telling her what to do?
Because I'm trying to be helpful.
She didn't ask you though.
That's true, but if I got a thorn in my side and I'm telling you, hey babe, I got this thorn in my side or whatever, I mean, I can either pull it out or I'm saying this because maybe I want help.
She's just going to pull the thorn out of your side. She's not going to tell you what to do better. But the thing is, she just wanted you to be a listening ear. She didn't want you to tell her how to do her job and probably the way you told her how to do her job discredits the way she does her job. She knows what to do. So she's not complaining that she's inadequate. She's complaining about probably how other people are viewing her or how they're reacting towards her doing her work. So you're telling her what to do. You're probably a part of the problem doing the same thing that they're doing.
And you're creating more problems by telling her what to do rather than just listening because she didn't ask.
I'm creating more problems giving suggestions. Now go ahead, Cappel.
Hey, bro, I'm going to send you this video. Regina's seen it, I know, because it was a part of training we did. It's called There's a Nail in the Head. I'm going to give you a brief summary of it. The wife is complaining about the nail in the head.
She's not complaining about the nail.
Yeah, she's right. You're right. She's not complaining about the nail.
Her head hurt. She's not
her head hurt.
She's
complaining about her head hurting and even like running into stuff, you know, and even in the closet and putting clothes on. And then the husband is like, but just take the nail out your head. And she keeps saying, it's not about the nail. You need to watch that because this is exactly what you're talking about. It is exactly what you're talking about. It's not about, as simple as it is to us, it's not about that. It's about them wanting to be able to express themselves and vent, and we just need to listen.
Facts.
That's really it. That's it.
I don't. But see, Regina and Ebony, I'm not trying to tell her how to do her job. It's mostly it be about like say like idiots at work. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just trying to tell her how to deal with those people and stuff like that. And you're 100% right. I mean, I learned a long time ago that she just wants to vent. So I give her that space or whatever. I just find it very interesting.
It is. It is.
Very interesting.
Young fellas out there and old fellas out there. Just listen. Just
if she asks for your help, then that is your cue to go ahead and give her that advice. But if she doesn't ask, you just listen and then, buy her something.
An old school cat told me a long time ago that, women are kind of like the ocean or whatever. Like you don't try to figure out the ocean and the different ways that the waves are moving and all of that type of stuff. You just let them do what they do. You know what I'm saying? And you just sit back and and let it happen. Don't try to figure the ocean. Don't try to figure out why she thinking what she thinking and all of that type of stuff. You'll never figure it out.
You could ask.
Yeah, we typically just say what we're thinking.
Yeah, you don't have to guess. Why are you guessing?
Yeah.
You're going to guess wrong.
Obviously.
100%.
So anyway, I know what we're talking about today, but I wanted to say something else or whatever. I know we keep going over this stuff over and over and over, but wouldn't it be crazy if, say, like Susan G. Komen started her, she got her cancer movement, her breast cancer movement or whatnot, and everybody supports breast cancer. Even the sports players wear pink. We all wear pink and wear ribbons and all of this type of stuff. Wouldn't it be absolutely bananas when they doing these 5-mile runs and stuff like that if an opposing side came out saying that all diseases matter or whatever? You know what I'm saying? They came out with AIDS and HIV shirts on, and I mean, that would be absolutely crazy.
Definitely, it would be bananas.
Somebody need to do that to prove a point. When October come up, let's start, just supporting another disease.
All diseases matter.
What about HIV? I feel you, bro. I was about to say something. Oh yeah, Kanye West dropped out the presidential race.
Ah, yeah. It did happen, didn't it?
Came to his senses or something, maybe.
Well, they say he had hired, I don't know, maybe like 100, almost 200 people or something like that. So he was serious or whatever. But I don't know. I think a few states weren't going to allow him to
be put on the ballot.
To run. Yeah, exactly.
He missed the deadline.
Yeah,
exactly. That's what it was.
Yeah, so he wouldn't have gotten all the votes. He just would have split the votes probably in the places that matter the most.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's interesting that he was able to hire some people for this campaign. I also saw an article how he got his companies got millions of dollars for the PPP for the coronavirus assistance. So interesting. So
man, a lot of companies Shake Shack, Disney. Like, I mean, how much money do Disney need? But anyway,
Shake Shack gave the money back.
Yeah,
why did
you didn't have to apply for the money?
Right.
Yeah. True. Well, they only gave the money back after everybody complained. Ruth Chris, which is one of my favorite spots.
Oh, that's how that happened? I didn't know that's how that happened.
Yeah.
Well, that makes
sense. Come on.
Yeah.
How that happened.
The thing is, when a regular person like me, when I buy a home, I'm told I need to save up 6 months to a year prior to doing that. So I think it should be mandated that any major corporation, once you make a certain level of money, you should be able to pay your employees. There should be some type of insurance. So I don't think anybody should have got any money unless you're a small business or you're an individual sole proprietor.
But what's even more hypocritical is the fact that you have certain Republicans and stuff, like especially black Republicans, saying stuff like black people shouldn't be waiting on the government for benefits and all of that type of stuff. Like, everybody receives benefits. Rich people, poor people, middle, everybody receives benefits. So what are you talking about? That don't even make sense.
Yeah.
Disney is like one of the largest companies. They've been given land and all type of stuff or whatever, and they still receiving benefits. So how come me, guy in the
Man.
middle, how come I can't receive those benefits? You know,
If you
why I
need to
should be
stay in the
concerned?
middle, if you
Oh.
can't, if you don't stay in the middle, how can we succeed?
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of Disney, I don't even rock with Disney no more. The only thing that I do with supporting Disney, and I'm on the fence with that, is the streaming channel they got. Because man, I've been listening to this podcast called Tales, and it has all the original tales the way that they were told from generations past.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew this, but I didn't know how in depth it was. Disney has literally stolen all of their ideas,
Mm-hmm.
literally stolen all of their ideas
Every single one.
and made every single one of those, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty. They stole all that. Those stories were passed down from generation to generation to teach lessons to people in general, not just kids, because the real versions are unadulterated.
They
They're
are
like,
dark,
yeah, they're
very
not for
dark.
kids. They're not for kids. And I found it the podcast is really interesting, but like listening to all those different tales, I'm like, man, Disney, that I mean, it kind of pissed me off just listening to how all those tales. And I'm like, Disney literally stole these tales and profited, and now they're a multi-billion-dollar company. That's crazy, bro. So I don't
Well,
too much
I
care for
mean,
Disney like that no more.
that's but at the same time, that's like getting off into copyrights and intellectual property and stuff like that. So with intellectual property, you don't own your ideas. You have to actually put them into, they have to come. You have to manifest them like by way of music or,
Or a book or something.
yeah, all of that type of stuff or whatever. So if I just give you a thought and tell you, hey man, I'm going to start this such and such restaurant or whatever, if you go and I don't implement it, then it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm pretty sure Disney read it somewhere. They didn't go and talk to everybody that, had history or historic knowledge of these events. So pretty sure they read it. I just don't think that the smaller people that had these stories, I don't think they knew their rights and what to do with them. But I think the daughter or granddaughter of something, I'm probably saying it wrong, of Disney.
no, it's the granddaughter.
Yeah, she kind of started exposing some things and things that she didn't like. So
She the only trill one out of the situation. You know what I'm saying? She be exposing situations or whatever. She done said some things before that was kind of questionable, but she's the reason why we know, like, a lot of the stuff that we know or whatever. You know what I'm saying about Disney.
Yeah,
It's like Trump needs writing that book. I can't wait to dive into that and check that out.
yeah, I'm gonna read it. I'm not gonna put money into any part of the family. So I guess I have to catch it a
Yeah.
different kind of way.
Wait till somebody do the audio book on YouTube or something like that.
She was on CNN meeting with Cuomo. I forget which one his name. Is it Chris? What's his name? The one that's on CNN, the news
I know who
anchor?
you're talking about.
Andrew?
Chris?
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah, Chris, yeah. She was on CNN, and I watched a clip of it on YouTube. He was talking to her about, the book, and she was saying, he was asking her questions. I was like, it's interesting, some of the stuff that she said, but I kind of want to listen to the book. I say listen because I don't do too much reading these days. But I'm like Ebony, I don't want to put no money in her pockets either. I don't want to buy it.
I mean, on the cool, it could be all a farce. It could be just for the purpose of making money.
Exactly.
Or whatever.
Like I'm like, you just like that guy that came out a couple weeks ago that wrote the book about Trump, saying that
John
he shouldn't be in
Bolton.
office. Yeah, if you truly believe that this person is not fit, why you wait till now, and why you putting it in the book for people to have to pay for it? We know why. But
Yeah.
It didn't benefit him anymore.
To me, you should be, doing that because it's the right thing to do.
Well, wouldn't
tell
you do
those
it?
secrets.
He should have did it during the impeachment proceedings when people needed all the information. So, but it's there now. But we knew. I didn't know everything that was going on, but we knew.
To answer your question, Damien, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I wouldn't unless my purpose was to try to make money. If I really felt
that's
like,
the
you know
purpose.
what, I said my purpose. I'm saying that
Yeah.
they tell you, they don't never come out and say, well, I was trying to make a lot of money from this.
This
And
dude is already rich. Like he already has plenty of money though.
Exactly,
And I
yeah.
did. I downloaded his book because I had a credit on audiobook. So I was like, let me see what he's talking about, and let me just listen, and see. And he did explain how like why he waited, and he was saying like he thought he could be the one to come in and make a difference because he wasn't there at the very beginning. He was there, but he wasn't employed by the administration. He was coming in as like a consultant. He kept coming in. Then they like revoked his like entrance to the White House, and then they called on him again. And so he wasn't even there, like he wasn't employed by them. He was just consulting. And so when he finally got hired, he was like, I thought I could make a difference. And then, you know, it kept getting worse. So, I mean, I kind of understand, but I don't know if it was his sole purpose was for money, because he's got plenty of money. The man's pretty
good. Think about Ed Snowden. Ed Snowden, a whistleblower about the innocent. Eric Snowden. To me, that's how you do it. If you really care about the people and you want to expose what's going on, you just tell the world. Now, he committed treason, so of course he had to do it the way he did it. But Bolden and Trump, they're not committing treason. They just they exposing, you know, individual person or whatever. But if you truly care about, you know, exposing those people because of how they mess up the country, that's how you do it. You get an audience with a top network and you give it all away. If you truly care about the people. But I mean, they may care about exposing the person, but they want money. So that's the main thing. It's money grab.
Did you see Eric Snowden's movie?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's a pretty good movie, but just like, you know, with the other guy or whatnot, I'm not giving him too much props or whatever, because you benefited first, and while you're benefiting, it was all good. It wasn't until you got ousted. Like Eric Snowden case specifically though, he went along with the program. He knew what he was doing was crazy from the beginning or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But he went along with it, I guess, for as long as he could, and then he blew the whistle. Like, why didn't you blow the whistle from jump? You know what I'm saying?
You know, I try to, when stuff like that happen, I try not to go that route. People do that a lot, and I understand why people do it. We all. Sometimes it takes people a while to really, really digest what's happening and say, I need to stop this. You know, because it happens all the time. You know, it's not easy to just say no to something that's not right when it's your job, or it's kind of like it's like peer pressure to a certain extent. You know, sometimes when you a kid or you young, when you with your boys, or whatever, they doing something you don't want to do, but you still kind of go through with it. Well, if you do it all the time, at some point you probably gonna say, you know, I need to stop this. I mean, I look at it that way. You know, he knew he was doing wrong, but at the same time, it wasn't easy for him. Look how hard it was for him to get the information he needed to be able to expose the people. You know, so I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I feel like because the end result was he did the right thing, then forget the rest of that. I mean, the fact that
I understand it. If we talking about making a moral decision, like my morals may point me in this direction from my perception, and yours may, you know, something may point you in a different direction, you know, just based off the circumstance. I get it, but we talking about making a ethics decision or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to make a decision or really think about it. If, say, like the cops that was sitting there kneeling on, you know, like on George Floyd or whatever, if I was one of the other guys and I seen that happening, I mean, I don't care about my job at that point in time. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna stop that from happening because you about to kill the man. I could see if he was fighting back or something, then okay, then now to me that what you talking about comes into play, where I have to make my decision might not be the best decision or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because we're talking about are we going to get hurt, or are we going to hurt him or whatever? You know what I'm saying? But the fact that he was just laying there, you know, then I don't have a problem telling the dude, hey man, just ease up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's just a matter of human ethics. You know what I'm saying? And morality.
I think when you're in politics or something like that, you have a duty. You don't really get a pass. So when people like Bolton, you benefited. He may have been a consultant. He may have gotten hired on later, but you were a consultant, and you were also hired on because you were already in the know. You were already in the circle. So you already knew who you were dealing with. You know the type of morale that these people have. When they started shitting on you, now all of a sudden you have, you know, this epiphany that things are wrong and that the people are not being led correctly. So no, I don't buy it. I don't get to make those choices. The people that make the policies don't go to the courtrooms and they don't, get Congress and senators that have that type of empathy for people that are committing crime. So I think a lot of people do things based on peer pressure. But when you get to a certain level, I'm fine with double standards. You don't get a pass from me.
I be wondering, do some of those people go into the situation with good intentions, and then, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah, definitely. But not any of Trump's people. Those are his homies. So no, they go in there, they already know what they're doing, how they're going to capitalize, what's in it for their families, their generations to come. If you see, I mean, just look at who's all appointed everywhere. Nobody makes sense. You have a brain cert, you have Ben Carson that's over housing, you have somebody that knows nothing about education over education. So these people are not there going for the, I want to make life better, because then you would use your gifts and your tools and your mind in the right areas.
Exactly.
straight up.
I agree.
Yeah.
None of them stick around though. It's a revolving door there. So,
And that's crazy. That is absolutely
I've never
crazy.
seen that before in my life, how many people come and go. It's hard to keep up at this point. I have a hard time paying attention to it. When I hear somebody else has been fired or quit, I'm like, oh, okay. And then what's next? Because that's what's been happening since the beginning. And even in this book, I hate to keep going back to it, but even in this book, this guy was like, I've worked for so many different presidents. I've been in the White House. Nothing about this situation is normal. Nothing about it mirrors any other presidency, like in history, ever. It's absolutely insane what was going on while I was there. And I was like, then why didn't you do anything? Like, why didn't you say anything? But I think that fear also was there that he would be one of those people coming in and out of that revolving door. And that's ultimately what happened when the disagreement came about. But I mean,
I feel like we the kids in a bad divorce.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the Republicans and the Democrats, we pretty wealthy, right? I mean, y'all got money, you know what I'm saying? So just one of y'all get the house or sell the house, you know what I'm saying? Y'all got plenty cars or whatever, so, split the cars up and let's get on with our lives or whatever. Why are we like trapped in the middle of this bitter quarrel or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But the one thing that I really hate about it is the fact that, say, like all of these Candace Owens and Rush Limbaughs and Don Lemons and all of these people or whatever.
Terry Crews.
Terry Crews. And I got to change my thoughts on him. But anyway, they all beefing like on television and YouTube and all this type of stuff or whatever. But it's people that's really on the ground that are, lynching people and killing people and all of this type of stuff or whatever. If we really get into like have another civil war, those people are still gonna be on television. They still gonna be on the radio. They not gonna be down here with us. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They cowards.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
in mask news, a Michigan man refused service for not wearing mask, stabs customer, is fatally shot by deputy. Did y'all see that?
Yeah, I sent you that video because
I
they
didn't
show
see
the
that
actual
one.
they show the actual murder
Oh
of that
my
cat by
God.
the police officer. I mean, that's a situation where you look at that and you say, that is exactly what's supposed to happen. He was killed by the police officer.
No. You got to start from the beginning.
Wait, you go to the beginning.
Dude was in a grocery store, a gas station, whatever. An old man, probably about 77 years old, confronted him about not wearing a mask. I guess guessing an argument ensued. This dude goes and get a knife and kills the 77-year-old man. I'm talking about Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
He killed the old man, jump in his little raggedy car, drive off, and then the police pretty much apprehend him or they try to apprehend him. They pull him over.
Mm-hmm.
Dude gets out with this, it looked like a machete or something.
Yeah.
And then he charges at the it was a lady cop or whatever. Man, she hit that dude about 5-6 times, man. He was still moving.
Yeah, he looked kind of bionic for a second. Because she shot him like 3-4 times. He was still moving. I was like, did she hit him? That's what I was thinking. I couldn't even tell. But what I was saying is, in a situation like that, and I hate to go to how things happen to us as black people in cop interactions, but that's when you look at that, you say there's no wiggle room. Like there's no wondering, about whether she did the right thing. She had her gun pointed at him. She told him to put the weapon down or to, whatever she said to him. The knife was in his hand. It was very clearly visible. And she was not going to shoot him until he charged at her. Yeah. Like, that's the way it's supposed to look when a person is shot by the police officers. And, I mean, this dude probably wouldn't have made it out the car if he was black. Weapon or not, he probably would have been shot because it was black and she was told that he did. Like it's and I hate to go there, but at the same time, it's like I'm going there because I want people to realize that when have you seen a black man get killed by the cops that looks like that, where he was just clearly guilty for and about to commit murder, not guilty for a petty crime, not guilty for shoplifting, not guilty for something minor, guilty for about to kill a police officer. When have you ever seen that? I mean, I know it happens, but when have you seen that? What we're fighting for is how we're treated for misdemeanor crimes or no crime at all.
I wasn't gonna go there and
beat for it. Yeah, I know you.
I was talking about the specifics of the mask.
I know you wasn't going there.
Mask news.
Yeah. I couldn't help it.
Yeah, wear your mask.
Yeah, why people tripping over not over wearing or not wearing a mask or whatever? Like when they implemented no socks, no shoes, no service, was people going crazy like this then?
Oh, it just depends. I guess depends on where the message is coming from. Same people don't want anybody telling them what to do with their body with a mask, or the same people that are telling me what to do with my body as a woman. So, I mean, they just
oppositional. What is it called? Oppositional defiant disorder.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
I don't understand the outrage of not wearing a mask. Like, the voice in your opinion about it, fine. You don't want to wear a mask in your house, in your car, with your family, fine. But why is it when you go, we've seen so many videos with people going into stores and they're causing outrage.
Mad.
Like I didn't see videos where people are slamming products off the shelf and, they screaming and cussing people out. Like, you already know what it is. You already know what the situation is. What's with the actual outrage? That's crazy to me.
Grown-ups throwing tantrums.
Yeah.
Grown-up tantrums, but anyway,
2020.
I know, right? So speaking of 2020, this has been an outrageous year or whatever. Kids have been at home, being homeschooled, not at home, homeschooled. I don't even know what to call it or whatever, because it's not traditional homeschooling.
They ain't been homeschooled. The teachers been working and they still been doing all the work that they normally do. And the kids just been at home with the expectation of doing the work. Okay,
so as an administrator and people that are in education, how do y'all feel about it? I guess I know how you feel about it, but further elaborate. How do y'all feel about the reopening of schools? Me personally, I don't want to. Let me get it out. Let me say my piece because I know y'all gonna go in. Me being a parent, I don't want to send my kids back to school or whatnot. I really don't want to see teachers go back to school. You know what I'm saying? Not at this moment, because we still don't have a grasp on, what the ultimate result is going to be and stuff like that. We know that kids don't care. Kids are going to pass these germs and bacteria, viruses, all of that type of stuff onto each other easily. And teachers are going to be right there in the line of fire or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be almost impossible. Like, my dad is in prison or whatever, and a lot of people like in San Quentin are dying because they're in such close proximity, and even the correctional officers and stuff like that are getting sick as well because of the proximity. So what's going to be the difference with a school facility? I don't think it's going to be much different. I think it's going to be the same. But I'm not sending my kids back to school. We have the option of homeschooling and or sending children to school. Then I'm choosing the homeschooling option, at least for the first semester, until we know exactly what's going on.
What do you think, Ebony? I know you have school-age children. Yes.
Yeah, I do. I have I have 3 kids, actually. I have one that's going to middle school, going to 6th grade, one that's going to 9th grade. So she's excited about starting high school. And then I have one that's going to be a senior in high school. So I share the same sentiments as a parent. I'm just really concerned about the children. I understand that people say, well, they're kids, they have, this immune system or whatever, but it's not about that. We don't know how this virus acts. Every day I turn on the news, there's new symptoms. There's new things that are even happening with children. There's something called COVID toes, where toes are turning blue. Um, this sickness doesn't really have a face, and no one understands it, and not even our top doctors. And even if the kids would be okay with it, the kids have to still come home to the parents and bring it to the grandparents that a lot of these children are being raised by. Then you have your teachers. I think people forget the teachers and the janitors and the cafeteria workers are adults and parents as well, so they're having to take it home to their children. I just think that it's not smart. Everybody wants to go back, and I think people think oh, there's a certain side that just wants to stay at home and be lazy. Everybody wants their life back to normal. We want our kids to socialize. Everybody wants that. The kids miss their teachers. They're sick of us. They miss their friends. But it just doesn't make sense until we know something. And until there's some trials on vaccines, I don't think too many parents want to just put a vaccine inside of our children that hasn't been tried and true. So I do like that some of the districts are giving, us the choice, but the choice is still limited. And I think it still puts a lot of pressure on the parents because, like I said, my kids are itching to go back, but I have to be that bad person to say, oh no, you're staying at home, where it should be across the board. It should be that leadership. And if the leadership can make decisions for everything else, from standardized testing to things that I don't really care about, but across the board, it's a law, then make it here. And I do think it puts the schools, the superintendents, and the teachers in a bad situation as well, especially here in Texas, where they said you can get a certain amount of funding and all of that. So I think it's ridiculous. I don't know, basically past that, what we should do, but I do know that it's too soon to just jump into school just to say we're there by August. So
I agree. I can say that prior to becoming an educator, I worked in the medical field. My husband works in the medical field. It takes a long time for a vaccine. Even like medicines, usually a trial for a medication is about 15 years. Like that's how long they test it to make sure it's safe and effective and to record all side effects. 15 years, some even longer than that. Every once in a while they fast track, like right now, how they're tracking some of these drugs, like the antiviral medication that they're using in some hospitals now. It hadn't even been approved. They were testing it, and now they're using it right now. It hasn't even had that test time. But every day my husband comes home from the hospital, he takes off his scrubs. I'm like, you need to get in the shower right away. And he puts the scrubs in a plastic bag, and then he has a new pair of scrubs that he brings home from the hospital fresh in a plastic bag that he puts on the next morning. So I don't, even his shoes, he leaves them out in the garage because it's that serious in our house. We lost his brother, his mother. Now we have 2 extra children who live with us because they are orphaned, because their parents are both gone. And we're not taking any chances. I have an 8-year-old who will be going to 3rd grade. I have a child who will be a senior in high school this year. This is his last year, and he's kind of bummed that he may not be able to go back to school. And then we have an 11th grader. And so I'm thinking about all these moving parts, how I'm going to go back to work and how I'm going to make sure that these teenagers get their work done. And my 8-year-old who's like, I'm sick of looking at a screen. I don't want to do it. I miss my friends. I miss my teachers. I miss recess. Can I just have recess with my friends? And I'm thinking to myself, I want you to have all of those things. I do. But I also want you to be alive to enjoy them when it's time again. So, for
Facts.
whatever mental health issues we have going on, we can definitely address those because that's a problem right now. Having like feeling trapped, not being able to go anywhere, and then the fear of getting sick, that all causes mental health issues. We can address those. But if you go out and you get sick and you don't recover, then we don't even have the opportunity to address your mental health issues that you may have
Facts.
suffered from staying inside. So I do understand that some parents have to work and they don't have any other alternatives. And one of my friends said, well, what about the summertime? What do those parents do in the summertime when they have to work and they don't have a babysitter? And I said, well, probably the older kids watch the younger ones. That's just what happens. But what happens when they have to go to work and they're older kids, younger kids? Everybody needs a device. Everybody needs to, get on the computer or the iPad or whatever to get their work done. Are the older students, children, going to police the younger ones? I have a hard enough time to get my 8-year-old, and he's my child, and he complains. So I know that if I left and went to work every day, left the kids home, that my older son would not be able to get my 8-year-old to do anything. It would constantly be a battle on the phone. Get over there, get your work done, do what your brother said. So, at this point, I don't have any answers. I do know that I know it's too early to go back. The numbers are higher now than they were when we canceled school back in March, when they said, oh, we're going to cancel today and for the foreseeable future. And then the numbers went up and up and up and up. And now they're at, higher than they've ever been. And we're supposed to go back with certain precautions. I don't know how that's going to, I don't know how that will play out. I know that I won't be staying late and I won't be offering in-person tutorials in my classroom. I know that a student that I might normally hug when they're having a bad day won't get a hug. I might nod my head and try to be empathetic, but I'm not hugging. Don't touch me, because that's how serious this is. I want to be here to see my children grow up, and just being in that kind of atmosphere every single day is just putting ourselves at unnecessary risks. Kids can catch up. We can deal with mental health, but unless your name is Jesus, you're not coming back from the dead. So that's my piece.
Well, what if your name is Lazarus?
But somebody spoke to Lazarus and he woke up. He didn't do it on his own.
I think Lazarus was the first and last person named Lazarus, because I ain't never heard nobody else.
Saying, let's bring that back, Lazarus.
But I mean, my thoughts on the whole thing is, so first of all, this is ridiculous. I can't believe that this is, and I understand why this conversation is, because everything that's happened is ridiculous because our leadership. But I the complete blame, like 90% of the blame, I'm putting on the administration of this country, but then the 10% is spread out through the other governors that won't make the right decision for the states, because they have that right to say we're just not going to start school. And this whole thing is stupid to me. Education should not be at the forefront right now. When I say that, what I mean by that is we need to accept that kids need to be home, and that the quality of education is just not going to be what it normally is until we can get kids back in school. We need to accept that. All right. It's not like America's educational system is suffering worse than anybody else's, because other people are not back in school except for a few countries where they're just getting started. Now, before I even talk about why we shouldn't start here, there's one school that we can look at, one place that we can look at where they went back to school. They got things under control. Israel. It's a small country, of course, but they started back in May. They got the numbers down. They started going back to school back in May. In 2 weeks, they had a complete outbreak all over the country in schools. Schools had to shut down. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Not 2 months. 2 weeks after kids being back in school. They had to start shutting stuff down again. Kids spreading it to adults, adults spreading it to other adults. It's ridiculous where they are right now. I mean, and you don't normally see charts like that. The chart it shows that the cases in Israel they were up, and then they went down, like completely down, and then they started to go back to school, and then they shot all the way back up again. So the White House press secretary, I think her name is Kaylee something, she came out the other day talking about, the science supports going back to school. And I'm going to explain what this science is in a second. The science supports going back to school. So what she's talking about is there's not a lot of cases that show that kids even spread the disease, let alone when they get it, they don't really get sick from it, but that they don't spread it. Why is that? Because who's been going out to bars and restaurants and having parties and stuff? Is that kids? No, that's adults. Kids been at home. Kids ain't been out like adults. So there is not enough science to really know how much it's going to affect kids as a whole, or how it's going to spread from kids. I believe the science probably will support overall that kids probably won't be affected as much themselves. But the spreading it to adults, that's probably going to happen. I mean, that's any disease. Just because it doesn't affect you doesn't mean you can't spread it. But kids haven't been around anybody but their peers, like their family or their parents. So of course you don't see the numbers with kids spreading it. They haven't been in school. Mm-hmm. So the other thing she said is the numbers in mental depressions are not as reported as high. Child abuse is not reported as high. Suicidal ideation. Now I love my kids. I do. I'm one of the biggest advocates for kids when it comes to their mental health. I got into education not for educational content. I got into education to support kids and to be there for them and to help enrich their lives. So I care about all that. But that's not the place. That's not what school is made for. That's a byproduct of what we help to do with school. We help kids who suffer from mental illnesses. We help kids who go through suicidal ideation. This woman said that suicidal ideations are not being addressed. So we're not going to focus on the fact that parents are not addressing suicidal ideation with their kids, and we're going to focus on bringing schools back, making schools come back so kids can go to school so we can support them with suicidal ideation. The fact that people don't even bring this up bothers me. Like, this is coming from the White House, and then if you just look at the situation in general, I think about students like life skill students. So life skill students are students who are, they have low cognitive impairment. The term, it used to be mental retardation, but now it's intellectually disabled. Many of them, some of them, they have physical handicaps, but they all have mental disabilities. Some of them are, nonverbal. They can't talk. They communicate only through gestures. Very low cognitive functioning. Many of them have like behavioral, I don't want to say behavioral, but they have like situations where you have to restrain them because they're like harming themselves. Those are things that you have to do to protect students by law. If you're a life skills teacher, or if you're an Apple teacher who works with autistic kids, they have patterns of just how they are, where they like hit themselves or they do things to stimulate themselves, or even when it's harming them, you have to protect them from it. You cannot allow them to hurt themselves. So you're asking that teacher and those paraprofessionals and the administrators that go and assist when these things are happening, they have to put their hands on these kids. They have kids that wear diapers that have to be helped clean up. They have kids that use the bathroom themselves. You have to clean that up and clean them up. You have all that happening. Nobody's wanting to talk about that. Mm-hmm. Now, when you're talking about, school in general, some schools have discipline issues. They have kids who still want to fight. As much as we want to believe that kids have matured over these past 4 or 5 months and they're saying to themselves, you know what, the world is in shambles. I'm going to get my education. I'm going to go to school and do what I'm supposed to do. That's not going to happen. The same schools that have discipline issues, those kids are going to return with discipline issues. What adult is going to be responsible for making sure that those things, that the kids are not fighting? Who's going to go in and stop a fight? Who's going to go in and break kids up? Who's going to do all that? Who's responsible for putting themselves on their lives on the line to do those things when you're bringing kids back to school? Because the White House is advocating for all kids to go back to school and not to have like a schedule where it's alternate. They're advocating for every single student to step into a school and go to school Monday through Friday. That's what they're wanting to happen at the top level. I mean, it's so much more, and I'm not gonna keep talking because I feel like I've been talking for 10 minutes. It pisses me off though. It really does bother me that we've been having this conversation.
Yeah.
You talked about them saying it's not, to paraphrase, it's not a lot of science that shows that there's a higher valuation of like mental depression or something like that, to that effect, right?
Well, no, what she said was the cases are not being as reported. Like they're lower right now.
Okay. The reason being, if I had to put a percentage to it, I would say that doctor's visits and school and going to school would put allows us to see different situations like that or whatever, like, because a parent isn't going to abuse their kids and stuff like that or whatever and then go call the police on themselves. But I'm certain when kids have, and then parents don't have a template as far as like mental issues to go by or whatever, what schools do. And, you know, doctors do. What have we taken out of the equation? Schools and doctors' visits are out of the equation or whatever. So of course the numbers are going to be down. So that doesn't even, that's stupid to say.
Yeah, and the thing is the reason why it's stupid to say is because what it does is highlight that we don't have supports in place for parents to address those things with their kids. They shouldn't be depending on schools to do it. The schools should help when it's an issue, when they recognize it's an issue. We can give you support. But it shouldn't be the school's responsibility to deal with it at the primary source.
Right.
So it's highlighting a problem that the country needs to address.
Right.
What do we need to do as a country to support parents so they know what to do with their kids who have mental illnesses, who are suffering?
Straight up. Like, hey, we running low on time. We right up against it. So anyway, have y'all seen any good movies lately?
Good God.
Well, I have actually.
What you saw?
Well, you all mentioned The Wrong Missy, so I went and watched it.
Oh,
What did you think about it?
hilarious! Probably one of the funniest movies I've seen in a very long time. It was a great break from everything that's going on in the world. I couldn't even be angry that day. I had to go watch the news just to make sure I stayed with the cause. But that was a funny movie.
It was.
Then I saw a movie called Keep My Secret.
I haven't seen it.
Okay, it's very funny. It's around the same lines of, but The Wrong Missy was funnier, but it was hilarious.
That's not the one with the Indian guy and the black girl.
No. You're talking about what you say, Issa Rae. No, not that one.
I saw that too, though. That was good.
ridiculous as well.
It was ridiculous. It was
I
funny.
want to see that one. I haven't checked that one out yet.
It was good.
So I have to send y'all that one, but it was hilarious.
Yeah, The Wrong Missy, man. The commentary was like just outrageous or whatever. You know what I'm saying? The stuff she was saying and the stuff she was doing was
She funny.
bananas.
She tripped me out. Like some of the stuff she would say, I'd be like, "What?"
Hey, that was crazy at the very beginning when she was like, "Yeah, I'm sitting at the bar with a blue dress on. This guy just won't leave me alone." she almost got him splattered.
It's like I wanted her to die, but then she had me laughing. I was like, when she fell off a cliff, I was like, please die so he can be with Miss Texas or whatever she was. But I was just
why did like the whole shark scene, that was outrageous. Why was she
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That was so messed up.
It was funny.
Yeah.
I liked it. I did see this other movie. I kept seeing it trending on like Facebook.
No, we're gonna talk about 30 movies?
No, just one more.
Go ahead.
This one. It's called The Old Guard. Have y'all seen it?
Yes,
Oh,
it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. That's my type of movie. I loved it.
That was
so
good.
I'm waiting for the sequel because the way it ended, it's not over. Like
It's not, and they clearly let us know that we got more coming, and it's Netflix. So it don't matter if it don't get good ratings. They're gonna make it. In.
I saw The Old Guard, but who like what was it about and who played in that one?
It's a newer movie.
Yeah.
Charlize Theron, she plays.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, where they can't die, and then every time they have these dreams about another person who like
Yeah.
can't die. They go recruit them to, they're like vigilante Avenger types. It was, I loved it.
That was a good one. I like that movie.
It reminded me of the Netflix series The Travelers. I know you don't want to talk about other stuff, but if you haven't seen The Travelers, check it out.
That's a good one. That is. I wish they would have kept it going.
Anyway, what you got on toe today, Cappel? Or am I doing on toe?
I can go ahead and go.
I know you got something.
Yeah, I got something
right there.
So I got, you know I do. So I went a little old school. I got my felines. So like the young bucks don't really know about that, but felines went hard when we was in high school back in the 90s.
Your light,
so
are they like
I see
silver?
that, man. They are silver. Yes, they are silver. They silver. They different. They like, I'm trying to put them in the camera to where you can get a good look at
They look like you're gonna have a halo on the bottom of your
exactly. I'm gonna be floating.
Well, but Puffy video.
But
Right.
exactly, But every now and then I like to get some shoes that kind of like show out like that. But the high top felines or whatever.
We gotta go with Ebony and Regina. Do y'all call them feline? Because that's what we call them.
I said Fila.
Yeah, I don't know where we get that from because it's not
I don't know.
at the end.
It ain't. It's fila, but we say felines, and I mean that's what it is. H-Town, Alexandria, Louisiana represent felines.
All right, man. This is Acoustic Chef, man. Y'all have a good day.
Have a good day. Later.
Yeah.